All right, what's up, everybody? This is Insanity with a first for Insanity Media. I'm doing some investigative journalism. I don't know if you guys have seen what happened at Blue Ridge Rock Festival this year after the debacle that was 2022. It seems like there's been a lot of chaos and disorganization and not so good of uh, you know conditions for the festival goers. I have a festival goer here that's going to share his experience as far as what happened getting to the festival and what happened when he got there and all the weather situation, things like that. And Aaron, thank you very much for being here with me, brother.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
So, okay, so tell me about your initial, I guess, trip to Blue Ridge. I've heard some issues with people actually trying to get to the venue. Did you have any issues with like
Uh,
taking 6 hours to get there or something like that?
no,
Or
I was commuting. I was commuting from home. I live an hour and 10 minutes straight south of the festival in central North Carolina. So I did not have the problems that the campers had, which I am told were terrible. Um, I did have a problem with my wristband never arrived, which I at the time I was willing to chalk up to a problem with the post office because of a mail forwarding setup that we had during the summer. Although I'm wondering at this point.
yeah,
So I had to go to the north lot, the Virginia side lot, which is I forget the name of the I forget that's up near Danville.
okay. So how many
Um,
lots were there for the specific for this
Two
event?
altogether.
Two.
The one on the Virginia side, that's the blue lot up near Danville, and one on the North Carolina side, the orange lot in Samora, North Carolina.
Wow, that's pretty crazy that it's that for the that far away. So it basically the parking situation consisted of two different states.
Yes,
Wow. So you get there and did you have any issues with?
I think the South Side lot they were like I think it was a campground or had been one. Um, they but yeah, basically we essentially park on grass. Where if you park on grass, there were parts where they were directing traffic, but by the time I got there Friday the I was way in the back, and we were basically parking wherever there was room.
So was the parking situation, was it organized at all, or was it just kind of a free for all?
Semi organized. They were
Semi-organized.
they were trying they were trying, but there was way too many people. There was way a lot of people there.
So
Um,
there was more parking, there was more cars than there were basically parking spots.
no, actually, no. The place went on for a while.
Oh,
I don't think anybody was actually turned away at the gate for the lot being full.
gotcha. So
Um,
what? So did you have any experience with the? Because I saw some reports on in one of the groups that said that the terrain of the parking spaces were like tearing up their cars. Did you have any experience like that?
I did not, but I have but but my car is kind of built for it. It's kind of built for sketchy parking situations. I drive a Chevy Equinox. These guys drive the folks who are driving like low to the ground sedans. They might have had problems.
I got
I could definitely see them having problems, but uh, I can't drive a small car because I don't fit in a small car.
you. I got you. Yeah, well, I don't have that problem. I got short people problems, so I fit
I just
anything.
got
So
long
okay, so
legs.
tell me, okay, so you get parked and tell me a little bit about. So once you parked, was it accessible where you could just walk to the festival grounds, or was there? I've
No,
heard that shuttles.
yes, we had the parking lot. I believe the two parking lots I believe were about 5 miles off of or about 5 miles either way from the festival ground.
Holy
Um,
crap,
yeah, well,
it's a long way.
yeah, which I think I don't know this for certain. I think that perhaps they were taking up normal parking for the raceway as the campground.
Gotcha. So how far was it from the walk from your vehicle to where you had to be picked up?
Okay, so I'm gonna say about half a mile from where I parked.
Okay, so it's a good hike.
Yes. Gotten I got it was a I want to say about 1,000 feet from where I parked to where the line to where the line was.
Wow. And
Um
if you could ballpark estimate, how many people would you say were in that line?
well, Thursday night I was told somebody said there were 5,000 people in who had parked at the south lot.
Wow. And they were waiting on a shuttle?
There were shuttle buses running a circuit in both directions. Supposed to be all 4 days,
Gotcha. So
which
how
was the
many
same arrangement as last year.
did you get any information as far as how many shuttles at a time came to pick up people and what the capacity of those shuttles are?
Uh, I did not get an information on how many I don't remember how many shuttles they said were running. It was they were I will say they were moving at a much greater clip than they were last year. It's the time between shuttles was much lower, especially compared to the first part of the week. Um, what they had this year was a whole bunch of, I guess, used school buses from various parts of the state that they had,
Uh,
I guess, bought at auction or something like that.
you would think
Um,
with all the money they could afford like good shuttles and shit. I mean, like,
well,
used school buses. I mean, yeah, teach his own, I guess.
yeah. So they had a bunch of school buses that had like the word school bus and the name of the school system like spray
Oh,
painted out, and then there were some that I think they had actually borrowed from the local school districts, because they still had the names like North Carolina schools on them
no,
and whatnot.
okay.
Um, so in line there was one significant problem. Uh, the only porta johns were almost all the way almost all the way over by the shuttle check-in booth. Um, and there was no water service anywhere. Um, I managed to I managed to actually refill my water bottle once at a bathhouse that I guess was for campers. Uh, hold it up to the faucet to the spigot for the
Oh,
shower head.
gotcha. And how far was that? Did you have to walk a long distance from where you were in line? Did you have to get out of line to fill up your water or?
Uh, I did get I got out of line to fill up the water, but the guy who was in line next to me held my place for me.
Well, that's nice of him.
Um, yeah. Uh, that's metalheads were kind to each
Yeah,
other
yeah,
generally.
definitely.
Uh, um, so yeah, so we were in line. This was the Friday. This was Thursday. I would park to the north lot. I was only in line for about an hour. Um,
Okay.
the it was fair evening. It was evening. Most people had already gotten into the festival. I only got there late because I came straight from school.
Oh,
I'm
gotcha.
at North Carolina A&T in Greensboro.
Okay.
Um, so I got into the festival about 6 p.m. Grabbed a bite to eat at a concession stand. Checked the lineup. Uh, right as Coheed and Cambria came on they didn't even get through their opening song when the heavens just opened. Just
Um,
yeah, two back-to-back supercells just came out of nowhere, scored direct hits on the festival venue. Um, they were about half an hour apart. Um, first one was a bit of a cloudburst. Second one lasted over an hour.
okay.
And it quickly became clear that the festival staff had no idea what they were supposed to do, in this situation. They shut down the show. Big flashing, big red sign comes up on the screens going exit the festival grounds, get on the shuttle buses, either go to your campsite or get on the shuttle buses. Yeah, BS. There is no way you're fitting what, 50,000 people
Yeah.
onto 50 buses.
Yeah. Yeah. No way.
So we had people, we were taking shelter pretty much wherever we could. The VIP guys went into their big tent. Folks into a racetrack building to get out of the thing. Me and a bunch of other folks, we took shelter in the woods off the road from
Oh,
the second
God. Woods are
storm.
not good. That's
Yeah.
that's pretty dangerous.
So it was, yeah, it was bucketing down rain, quarter-inch hail, um, lightning everywhere, and I would be willing to swear in court that I saw the lower cloud layer rotating at one point.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I don't. The cell network was dead the whole time. So
Well,
I have
it
no
mainly
idea
happens with festivals,
if a
so they
tornado
tell
warning
people.
went out. Well, I have no idea if a tornado warning ever went out, but I'll tell you, if one had touched down, you would have seen casualties in the thousands.
I got you. Now, were you told anything about, because obviously if something that severe, whether that severe happened, were you told anything about that the festival the people put on the festival actually were looking at the weather pattern? I mean, would you think that if something that big was coming, that they would have been aware of something coming that way? I mean, that's pretty severe.
They had no idea they had no idea the first one was coming. They apparently know they apparently did were watching after that. We're watching for the second one and gave warning. But their evacuation procedures were not up to scratch by any stretch of the imagination.
So you didn't get any besides, like, okay, so the first storm happens. Is there any kind of warning say, hey, we have another storm that's potentially coming, you guys need to get, I mean, because obviously if you got a big storm coming, you need to give people time to get out. Like, it can't be
Yeah,
just like, oh, here's a massive thing with hail and
yeah,
all this other stuff that could kill people, you know,
yeah.
and
They had an
you got to get
announcer
out
that
now.
Yeah, they had an announcer telling people to exit the park or after the first storm came through. Um, and saying, "Look, y'all need to get out of here. There's another one coming." Uh, Problem is, like I said, exiting the park was really no better. Was really no better of an idea than staying put,
Yeah,
because there wasn't anywhere to exit to.
that's great. That was on Thursday night, you said?
That was Thursday evening.
So, wow.
The first storm hit, I want to say 6:30, second one about 7:30.
Oh my goodness. So at this point, so you had already been kind of through a semi-traumatizing thing. I mean, you're stuck out here in the middle of the woods, with these massive storms coming through. You have no way of getting to your car.
Yeah.
Did now after that happened and you and the storm let up. So were you in the woods a whole hour, or what were you were hunkering down, or what?
We were basically we were under the trees. Yeah, we were under the trees. There were other folks who were deeper into the woods. Me and the group I was with were just hiding out of the edge of the woods. And we could and there was and the ditch and behind the ditch was filling up in front of us. Um,
Oh my God.
yeah. Um,
You were getting soaked.
I had a raincoat on and I was still getting soaked.
Oh my God. So so, so do they have any plan? I mean, so okay, so after the storm goes through and you guys are probably like, oh my God, this is terrible. So how long did they have ample transportation from the festival to get you back to your car that's 5 miles away or whatever?
No. Uh I didn't get back to I didn't I didn't get back to my car until midnight.
And what time did you leave the festival?
I got in line, I want to say about 8 p.m. When
So
it
you
became
wasted four
obvious that
hours of your night. 4 hours of
standing
your
in
night
line.
Oh my God, dude.
Standing in
So,
line, soaking wet. Uh,
so what made you decide after what you I guess viewed as a poor logistical or poor planning on the part of the festival? What in your mind was like, I think I want to try again and maybe they'll get it right today. What was it about? What was it about the thing that made you want to stay?
well, one, I really wanted to see Electric Callboy. Like
Yeah,
really, really, really
I
wanted to
love
see
that band.
Electric Call. Yeah. Um, and I was checking the weather reports before. I checked the weather reports multiple times in multiple times that morning, including right before I left for Virginia from school again. And it looked like the weather was going to cooperate today that day. It hadn't looked like it looked like it was going to be just the previous night. It had looked like it was going to be just as bad Friday evening, but in the but Friday morning and Friday midday, they had revised it to be much more favorable. So
What time was Electric
I was
Callboy
willing to
slated to
chalk
go
it. I
on?
was willing to chalk it up at the time. I was willing to chalk it up to just a freak act of God.
Yeah,
Um, uh, and like everything they did wrong, they can't control the weather. I get
yeah,
that.
yeah, absolutely. But the
Um,
evacuation plan they could have, yeah, they
yeah,
should have done the evacuation a lot better. They should have
yeah,
planned for that.
but their evacuation plan was terrible. But I don't think anybody got. I didn't hear of anybody getting actually significantly hurt beyond getting hit in the head by hail a few times.
Well, that's a
Um,
blessing.
but I did. But apparently, most of the campground got destroyed by wind.
So you were a camper,
I was not
or
camping. I did. I was.
oh, so
I drove in.
oh, gotcha. Okay, so
So
let's go back to your experience on Friday. So you're back. You got a line of a lot of people,
yeah.
and you're waiting to get on the shuttle. So what happens after that?
So I get in line about 2 in the afternoon. About 4:30, I'm up to the shuttle. I'm up to the shuttle check-in booth. And suddenly, security gal in a green security shirt comes down, yelling for people to go back to their cars because they're not letting anybody else into the venue at this time. She's saying she was told that, and they were turning the buses around that were en route. um, saying that the security woman is saying that there were lightning strikes 20 miles from the venue and there was a storm coming. So it was difficult for anybody to verify this. Where we were standing, it was bright and sunny. It looked like there might be cumulonimbus clouds to the north of us,
Yeah.
but but as so it was maybe plausible. But then somebody briefly managed to get through to Instagram. That, by the way, the cell network was completely overloaded
Yeah.
from from almost all the way, almost from Yanceyville to I don't know what side, I don't know where, I don't know where east of Samora, all the way up into Virginia. The cell network was spotty would be complimentary for the was the term I was gonna.
I got you.
Yeah, calling it spotty would be a compliment. Um, so, um, but we did have brief spots where it was working. Somebody managed to get onto Instagram and saw that the festival venue that the festival set the scheduled sets were still going on. Nobody was actually leaving the park. The weather was fine.
So
Meaning,
you asked the security person about this?
yeah, they just said, look, we were told not to let anybody in. We're just doing our jobs. Uh, was basically that was what it boiled down to. And
Well, I did see a post out because I've been kind of watching all the stuff as it's unfolded, throughout the days and things like that. So I was actually seeing, and you could see the picture of like there's thousands of people that are like in front of some stuff. I don't know who was playing, but there was definitely people playing in front of it. I mean, a lot of people, and there was a band playing. And I actually have a friend on Facebook, and they're like, yeah, I'm seeing, bucket list, cross off a bucket list and seeing this person. And then I'm seeing all these other people in the group, and I'm like, I'm getting turned around. They're telling us it's canceled and go home. Or did they tell you it was canceled, or they just tell you
No,
it
they
was?
told us
Oh,
they didn't say canceled. They did not say canceled. They said they weren't letting anybody else into the park. So what at this point, once we find out that the venues are still that they're still playing, they're blatantly lying.
yeah.
That's the obvious conclusion is they're just flat out lying to us now. They're not letting anybody in because the venue is way over capacity and the fire marshal is giving them stink eye.
Do you have any direct, like, do you have
I do
any
not
kind of
have direct I do not have direct proof. Um, that's deduction. I do not
gotcha?
have
Okay,
that's deduction. The because that is the next most plausible explanation. That is the next most plausible explanation because before this thing started, they were crowing on social media about how they'd broken the record for most attended metal festival in North
yeah.
America.
I did see that several. Yeah, we're the largest festival in country now, but so yeah. I mean, I can understand how you could deduce that because it's like, well, number one, they're not letting people in, but there's a crowd full of people. It looks like the festival grounds are pretty packed to capacity. And you say there's, sunny skies. They're not a, cloud. It doesn't look like there's any. You don't see any thunder, no lightning. You don't see no
Nope.
lightning, anything like that. So I can understand, somebody like that. Now, did you ask
And
them?
I did, and I found out later, from a internet acquaintance, Tank the Tech. He's a YouTuber, good guy, and he's been a touring roadie for he's been a touring musician and touring roadie for almost 20 years at this point. And
Okay,
he was the U.S. tour manager for Electric Callboy. I found out from him on Discord that their set went on as scheduled. Um, after we had been refused entry to the park.
that pissed you off.
Uh, intensely.
Yes, I can imagine. I mean, I want to see them. I've never seen them live, so to be able to pay all that money to and then not be allowed to go. Now, do they say it's just on hold and we'll let you in at a certain time, or did they
No,
just
they
were they just
didn't.
being vague?
They were just saying we're not being allowed to let anybody into the park. They would not give any time or any information beyond we're not letting you get on the bus.
Geez, so at this point you'd been waiting in line for what, 2 hours? You filled up your water, or I mean,
I had filled up my water bottle, but I had emptied it again. And the EMT the medical tent by the shuttle venue was handing out free water bottles at a pretty good clip.
that's nice. I mean, did they have any food or anything to
No
I
food.
mean, you got to be. How hot is it this day? How hot is it when you're out there?
Uh, it was somewhere north of 90.
So you're in a
Thankfully,
line 2 hours.
somewhere
You're
north
in
of
a line for
90.
two hours.
Wind was blowing pretty decently, so
That's good,
it wasn't
but
too
still.
bad. But the folks who weren't in the shade were getting cooked.
And you said there was only one porta potty, the whole area.
No, there were I want to say there were six porta potties, they were all up by the shuttle stop.
You were way back.
No, but by this point I was up by the shuttle stop.
Oh, okay, so
I
so
started
okay,
way
so what
back.
did
I started way back.
so did you ever get into the show on Friday?
No, I did not. 5:30 I decided I was wasting my time and I got back in my car and I went home.
So did you get any kind of did you reach out to the festival organizers and tell them your thing and ask them what they're going to do?
No, I sent a refund request. I sent a refund request to eTix, which was the ticket seller. Refund my festival pass, refund my shuttle passes. Um, and I filed a formal complaint with the Virginia Attorney General's office on Saturday afternoon.
Okay. Did you try to go back Saturday?
I did not try to go back Saturday. I decided one the weather forecast was terrible again. And and two, I decided, you know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me
Yeah.
twice, shame on me.
And you had been there the previous year, and did you actually go into the festival the previous
Yes,
year?
all 4 days, all 4 days last year. Last year, the worst things that happened on that we could see as attendees was the trash cans weren't getting the trash cans weren't getting cycled often enough, and the buses were completely screwed up the first day and a half. There were not enough of them at all,
Okay.
which they blamed on on the subcontractors screwing them. Um,
Yeah, that's spawning it off. So let me ask you a question before I let you go here. Um, you were in there Thursday. Did you? There's been a lot of talk about these water refill stations that they were promised that they promised 12 water. Did you get any kind of look into the grounds as far as like the conditions of the festival grounds? Because I saw some pictures of the porta potties being like overflown with stuff that were filthy. The trash cans were overflowing, and people complaining there weren't 12 water refill stations. Can you attest to any of that?
I only saw one water refill station at the top of the top of the hill, of the hill at the center of the campus. It was by the Smart Punk Records stage.
Okay, and where's
Um,
this stage located as
this
like
it's
logistically?
okay. So from the direction you come into the festival, I don't know if it's I don't know. I think it's about I think it runs north south along this access road to the raceway. So there was one stage on the west side of the road of the service road. Then you cross over. The entry booth is kind of right here. I'll email you a sketch.
Okay,
there's a map on the website still, by the
thank
way,
you.
or there was yesterday. Um, then you move east, and the Monster Energy and Zine stages are at the bottom of the hill, way over here. And then you go north up the hill. Um, the Smart Punk stage is on your left, and then there's a hill. There's the backside of the hill. There's another couple of stages down there.
Okay, well, hey, I appreciate your time, and that sounds like that sounds awful. I mean, it seems like they just don't have. I think they maybe have good intentions, but they just don't know how to run a show. It sounds like it was just a complete mess, and the fact that it sounds like they and I can't say this for a fact. This is just Insanity's opinion. Sounds like they just were in over their heads, couldn't take in more people, and instead of telling people the truth, sounds like they just made up some bullshit story. That's just my
Yes.
opinion. So this is not facts, so don't sue me for
Yeah.
libel. So, but I appreciate your time. What would you say to people because they're already pre-selling tickets for next year? What advice do you have for anybody that's thinking about ordering tickets for next year?
Don't go to
One word, I like it.
Go to Prague Power instead. They know what they're doing. They know what those guys actually know what they're doing,
Awesome, man.
and it's about the same time of year.
I got you, man. Well, I know you got a show to go to tonight, so that's pretty cool. You get to go to a well put on show. So I thank you very much for your time. Like I said, this is Insanity First Investigative Journalism. Been here with
Yeah.
Aaron, one of the festival goers that just had a horrible experience. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that happened to you, brother. And
Yeah.
I wish you well, man. And thank you very much
Yeah.
for your time.
And do reach out to Tank the Tech. He was, like I said, tour manager for Electric Callboy, great guy, and he was willing to post about his side about his experience as a festival worker on Discord and Reddit.
Okay. Well, thanks. Hey, keep in touch, brother.
Bye bye.
Have a good one.